Woo!
That's me being a human bobblehead, Jei'mar.
What's up, Coach D? What's up, Vested?
I'm working on it. Hey, man. Welcome to Vested. It is Wednesday night. Welcome to our new night. Okay. So if you are following us from Thursday to Wednesday and you're the first subscriber on our station, we will give you a complimentary pony, and it will be at your house in year 20-something. We'll get to it. Amazon, Bezos, anyway.
Boom.
Welcome to Vested, everybody. It is now our new time on Wednesday. Jei'mar, we're going to inspire, create, and empower here. How you doing today, man?
Man, I'm so grateful to be here with you. Love you, bro. What's up, Vested community? And I'm excited to be here. What's up, Tech Team? Woo woo.
Love,
Welcome back, Tech Team. Welcome back.
Tech Team has gone on a mission, starting in a brand new Bronco, on a car ride to Washington to finalize a purchase of a mushroom farm in which our family will now be running. Our friend Brandon, who we had on the show before, has helped us in this venture. He is our consultant and our co-CEO, but more about that later. Jei'mar, I wanted to talk about something. I mean, it's in reference to this 2 weeks where Rebecca drove her Bronco to Washington and handled business. But I had a really unique opportunity to experience surrender in a way that was wildly and most devastatingly uncomfortable. And it rendered some of the most exceptional learning opportunities I think I've experienced maybe in my entire life. Because part of me went into this week or 2 weeks with all of the fear that was left in me. And I have been really working the program, Jei'mar. I've really been pushing hard to completely surrender, to go into the depths of who I am and to try to really challenge these things that are, I don't want to say holding me back, but that are getting in the way of me really expanding as the Damien that I know I can be, that I want to be. So a lot of it came through fear. And talk to me real quick about surrender, from your perspective. I mean, you and I live different lives, but at the same time, we have a connection in terms of what we believe and how we approach our lives. So hit me with surrender from Jei'mar's perspective real quick.
Man, that's a great question, Coach D. And like, once again, what's up, Vested? Love you. Surrender is, I think, the first natural thought of surrender. People think weakness, but in reality, surrender is a place of power. But I think for us as human beings in the natural, it's harder for us to surrender when we're not being forced to surrender. Right? You think about someone as a thinking about a criminal activity. If someone's being forced at gunpoint to surrender, or they're going to be shot at, you're being forced to surrender, right? For the well-being of your life. But as people, I believe that the more we surrender to processes and flows of energy and vibration, when we willingly surrender, it could be a place of power. But I don't think that's a natural state for most of us to surrender. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, in so many ways. And one of the reasons why I was so pumped up on talking about this today is because you said something that really struck a chord with me, is weakness. Because in the moment where you do surrender and you do let go, there is a vulnerability that in a lot of ways you can attach to weakness, because there's complete lack of control. And that's how you know that you're truly surrendering, is because there's no answer. There's nothing to grip a hold of. So let's get into this, because I mean, we are going to focus on, I guess, what brought me to want to share this today. But
hey, Coach D.
Yo.
What brought you to want to share this today?
I'll tell you what, Mark, there's this story, okay? It involves a Bronco and a road trip. I'll tell it to you. But really, I mean, in this vested situation, I can't bring to the table just who I am and my problems. So what I did this last couple of weeks is, in this process of surrendering, I did it consciously. I did it with the intent of trying to understand the true value and completely letting go, and knowing that I would end up sharing it. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I found a multitude of ways to be able to execute sharing the I Am We Are process. And I was able to utilize my suffering in a way where I I was able to cash it in for something that was so deep and so profound that it's going to be hard to explain. So I wanted to get it on, film and talk to my boy Jei'mar about it, and then rub it against the VESTED community and kick off the new Wednesday time slot. So Jei'mar, if we could please, shall we inspire now?
Come on, baby.
Shall we inspire now?
Man, I love the banners, man.
It's fun, right? It's fun. It's just our little thing, It's like it's everybody has that thing, and I think it's organic because we just decided, and then it was there. So it's
Tech team decided. Tech team decided. And we said we agreed.
So if in this game, you see the faces here, but the superhero is really behind the scenes, man. I was telling her she's on CBS, CNN, ABC. I don't know. She's got some sort of directing thing going on. But anyway, I tend to digress.
Inspire in spirit. Inspire.
Okay,
talk to
this is going to be a good one, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I don't feel inspirational about the vulnerability aspect of where this is coming from. I love the idea that since I did surrender, and I feel like I gave my everything to it, there was an abundance that I might not even experience in this moment now. It could last for a very long time, because this is the first time that I did something that I plan to continue to do for a very long time. So just like we've all been in precarious situations in the last, 18 months that were completely in the unknown area. When Rebecca left, Jei'mar, to go to Washington, this is the first time that I met her. I mean, we became, first we were friends. First she was an employee. She came to help me out on the weekends. And then once we started to kind of really, really love and appreciate each other, there wasn't a time since I met her where we'd spend any more than 5 days apart. So with this business that we bought, we needed to make some boss moves and go up there and secure some insurance stuff and make the final payments and meet with the owners and transition some stuff. And here I was for the first time. My grandfather moved out. It's just me and Merlin, right? So we have some caregiver from the Philippines that we call in. And he worked for us for like maybe 2 weeks before Rebecca left. And we hired this guy to get me up in the morning.
And
to sleep. Yeah.
Hold that thought, because I want you to think about it. What if someone's watching right now who knows nothing about Coach D? And you're bringing them into this part of the story, right? Like they're like, what is a caregiver? What do you need? What are you talking about? So wrap that up real quick of why it's so important what you're talking about.
Hey, Jei'mar, I got one for you. I got one even better. Because you were the one to recognize from the time we are process, and we've been developing a friendship for the last however many years now and episodes. Why don't you do that for him? Who am I?
Well, look at this here. The VESTED community, my boy Coach D. I believe one day we're going to walk across the stage together in some capacity. But today, right now, Coach D is operating from a wheelchair from a spinal cord injury that he suffered. How many was it? 20 years ago, Coach D? 17 years ago. And that's why I have so much love and respect and admiration for this man who inspires me and empowers me, just because he is the man he is and what he fights daily to just live the life, but he's shining light to the world despite and not making any excuses. But at the current state, there's people there like the tech team and those around him who help him maintain the daily flow of living. So wrapping up right now, back to what Coach G's talking about, is a woman who's been his partner in crime, asset to his life, wife, and supporter, was gone for 2 weeks. And that's where he's bringing us up to speed of the process that he was going through during this time of separation, right? So back to you, Coach D. Did I wrap it up?
100%. Okay, so if there was one thing to kind of go dive a little bit deeper that I don't even know if I've shared with you, Jei'mar, is that when I broke my neck and I was sitting in the hospital, there was a certain part of me that I had to face. And it was very, very real that I had to consider that the life that I once loved so much before I got hurt, because that was what was the sparkle of who I was, is that I really enjoyed being Damien. And I found a way to be able to share my experiences and my fun and my happy personality with other people. And I really enjoy doing that. And then, laying in a hospital bed, when somebody tells you you're going to be paralyzed for the rest of your life, to me, I didn't make the connection when I was first hurt, but I didn't realize that what I was afraid of is not being able to enjoy that passion of who I was with other people. So I thought it was all attached to being able to walk and all the physical things that I would do and all the things that I could accomplish. And I'd show the world this and that. So there was a lot of me that needed to get over that first. So really where I'm at now is that 17 years after that, I've learned to accept the idea that I've found a way to look at life from a perspective that accepts things as it is. And as it is right now, like you said, one day maybe we walk, but I found a way this weekend to walk with people in a way that brings me a type of completeness that you hear people talk about, but until I actually felt it, it was almost impossible to really understand. So, all right, from the inspiration perspective, because we'll create and we'll empower later, but let's start with inspiration. So I decided that no matter what was going to happen, when my wife left, she's going to get in the car, that I was going to be a big boy. And for the first time in 17 years, I was going to approach things without fear. I knew that I had a caregiver from India that I couldn't understand a word he was saying, like literally a word he was saying. I had to tell him 8 different things, and I trained him like 12 different times, and we still really struggled. He was a very nice guy, but the bottom line is he didn't get it cut. He didn't get done. Okay, so the other guy that I had was from the Philippines, and I can understand him a little bit better, and he made this commitment. Okay, while my wife was still here, and we semi trusted him, and we didn't really have any other options, but. Either way, I knew that if you're going to leave me with 2 people that I just met that are from different countries that I can hardly understand, that I was in for a couple of weeks, man. And I didn't know what was going to happen. But I promised myself, I promised my wife, I promised my future business and my family that, look, man, all in's all in. And honestly, it's time for me to own up. It's time for me to figure this out, and time for me to stop being afraid and approach it with the same tenacity that I used to approach my life before, in full acceptance, and to be able to make it a game and to have fun. And the bottom line, Jei'mar, is that I was going to win. I was going to find a way to get it done, and I wasn't going to be scared. Things were going to happen. There's going to be some collateral damage. We were going to lose some resources. We're going to cost some resources. But the bottom line is when I approach this with this type of mentality, the results that I was able to pull from it, man, were intense, dude. It was so hard. It was so difficult, man. I had to face things that I've been hiding from on the inside for 17 years, dude. And I looked at them, and it wasn't that I dealt with them. It's just that they were there. And when I was that scared and I was that vulnerable, they were still there. And I knew they were coming, and they were going to be scary, and it was going to be really hard. And I just did it anyway. I just let go. I found a way to understand that it's just a moment in time, and that no matter what happens in this moment in time, it means something. It's either desirable or it's undesirable. And if it's undesirable, how much control did I have on it being undesirable? And then when it gets to a certain point where it doesn't really matter, let's just experience it being undesirable for a second, because what's on the other side of that? I've never done that, Jei'mar, before. I need you to talk and say something before we go to creative, because I'm still kind of smoking over here.
You think about what you're talking about, and you're getting to the root of surrender, the process, right? And how Tech Team put it up there, surrender, right? Surrender is a place of power, because you're talking. You can tell that you're speaking from this place of freedom, right? This place that you had a revelation, a paradigm shift of how you saw things before. Well, the question for me right now I have for Vested Community is, what part of your life are you fighting the surrender process with? Like what part of your life are you going through really not wanting to really give into whatever process you may be experiencing? Because what Coach D is talking about, he's talking about this process that he's experienced, where it wasn't like he woke up and said, hey, the next 2 weeks is going to go like this, bam, bam, bam. It was unfolding as you were living, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'm grateful to be here, because I'm thinking about myself, how I just posted something from a friend of mine the other day. She said, flowing, not forcing. And basically that in essence is what you're talking about, is right. It's staying in the flow and not the force. But the only way we can actually operate in the flow is through surrender. Back to you, Coach D.
All right, good. I needed some time to cool off a little bit, man, because this next section we're getting into, it's heavy, man. It's heavy. I want to be vulnerable on Vested, and I also want to be able to save everybody the vulnerability of knowing like how deep and gnarly it gets when it comes to quadriplegia. But I'm not just sitting in a chair, Jei'mar. It's not just that my body doesn't move. It's that everything that from about here down neurologically has been affected. So that means my ability to pee and go number 2. So when I hire caregivers and they come in here in the morning to get me up and make me beautiful, like you see right here.
Come on, baby.
Buddy, I got to shower down, man, and I'm 200 pounds, okay, and I'm 6 foot. So getting me in and out of a chair, in and out of bed, in and out of the shower, it's no easy task. So when we get the League of Nations in here, and we got the Filipino guy and we got the Indian guy doing their very best, giving themselves entirely to me, okay, the best they can, okay. Now, Damien doesn't really understand broken English, and the idea that in a Filipino culture, it's very often that the dominant wife runs the show, and you get the scraps of whoever shows up, and he's going to do what he's going to do based on what she says. But I hired him. It just got really complicated. So, so listen, Rebecca leaves, and these are my two caregivers, right? These are the people taking care of me, and I have to accept the idea that the next 2 weeks aren't just going to be different. They're going to be so different that I'm going to have to move into it with zero expectation, because all expectation would do was get in the way. My job at this point was from moment to moment to flow, and whether it was comfortable or uncomfortable, to be able to make decisions on the fly about what was going on around me and about myself. So, Jei'mar, I think we should transition to create now.
Man, hey, let's do it, man. Because there's a lot of people right now who are vibing what you're saying, because we're all going through some type of process, man, where we can flow and not force more.
Hey, Jei'mar, that's not true. I think there's nobody watching, because we switched over to Wednesday and we didn't do a big hoopla about it. And I offered a pony. So
Wednesday,
watching, all they'd have to do is chime in. They'd get a pony. You know what I mean? So I know nobody's watching.
Hey,
cool. I feel better being vulnerable, knowing that this is going to be a log show and people have to go pick it to watch it.
When we're rigid, we break. When we're flexible, we bend. And we were flexible, and we're thankful for the people out there who are flexible with us, man. But hey, let's go to the create. What are we creating?
I don't know, man. Let's try it. I'll give it a shot. So we're creating.
Talk to us.
We're creating. So
talk to us.
There was a time before where Rebecca left and she went to Washington. We had this plan to kind of kickstart it all and get it going. She left for 5 days, and I had done a bad job at preparing myself, okay, to be in a situation where I didn't lean a whole lot on Rebecca's superhero-ness. Now, this is kind of the inception of where it started. I started to become aware that my fears had put me into a position over the years where I had learned to lean on crutches and accept the idea that crutch was the way that I was going to be able to get through stuff. And as much as I loved and appreciated the idea that I needed help, in this situation, there's no right or wrong way. And there are certain things that in everybody's life they accept as, I'll get to it tomorrow. I'm comfortable with this now, so I won't challenge myself, and it's easier that way, so I'll just keep going this way. But when it costs you the strength, vitality, and basically overall wellness of the person that you love the very most, you're a superhero, and you know that you're breaking her down because that you've accepted the idea that her love and care was enough and that you maybe could have pushed for more but got comfortable. I decided with the first guy that I would give it the 5-day thing, and I suffered because I recognized that I accepted the idea of a person's help that wasn't really in a position to give me the type of help that I needed. And the reason why I did it is he gave me 100% of what he had, but what he had wasn't much, and I accepted that. So in this next situation, I wanted to do a little bit better job. I created an incredible to-do list. I had all these things that I was going to do that was going to be productive for myself and my wife and my life and this business that we were doing. And then all of a sudden I had these two caregivers. Everything was all figured out. But surrender came to get me, Jei'mar, in midway through the second week because things were going really well. I had found a way to get things done. And now I'm going to share a story with everybody and get a little vulnerable here. Okay.
Come on, baby.
One of the things that had happened is when you train somebody and you can't really speak the same language and you don't have somebody there to actually show them what to do because you're quadriplegic, you're laying flat on your back, is in the middle of the night when you need to pee, you ring a little bell, okay? And then in runs some guy that's half awake, okay, that you got off Craigslist 2 weeks previous, hardly speaks English, okay? He's run by his wife. He's been heckled by her all night, so he hadn't really been sleeping that good, okay? He comes in petrified, shaking, his hands shaking. You got to pee really bad, right? The bottom line is it doesn't go down according to plan. You got 5 different steps. He gets through 2 of them, and you just start peeing everywhere, okay? So I'm in the middle of the night with a guy from a different country trying to help me pee off Craigslist, and I'm peeing everywhere because he didn't get there quick enough because of whatever reason, right? I had to find it within myself to be able to be strong enough to find compassion for him because at 3 a.m, he came running in to help me, and it was his hand that was shaking, okay? Now, even though I was sitting there peeing, man, I couldn't hold it, what good would it have done me to stress or freak out in that moment? I found a way to surrender to what was going on. So it was that, whoa, I could meet him. Okay. I met him in the middle of where I needed, I just fell. Surrendering. All right. Well, texting. Hello. Coming in. I'm telling you, man, this is the way it's been going. Look, that's no, for real. That's quadriplegic. You could literally be being Italian on a TV show and trying to be vulnerable and everything else. And you fall over and you can't.
I love you, bro.
Homie, that's how it goes.
I love you,
I'm
bro.
in full acceptance. This is what I'm talking about. Middle of the night, I'm peeing with Filipinos and everything else. Okay, so this is going down, right? And I learned in this moment that, like, dude, it's not just about you. That even though you're paralyzed, even though you're scared, even though you're frustrated, even though you think you're surrendering, there's another part to this equation. And if that person, whoever they are, wherever they're from, whatever's going on, if you aren't aware and present, then you can't give to that situation what that situation needs. So I found a way in this moment, dude, in the midst of overcoming some of my gnarliest fear ever, to be appreciative, to surrender and recognize that in this moment, with me peeing my bed at 3 a.m. with this total stranger, that I had somebody to help me. And then when I was done peeing, he helped me clean up. And then he went back to bed. And then when I rang the bell, he came in again. Okay. So I'm sitting here kind of like off my head, looking at things from a completely different place because I'm not used to reacting to life in this way. And I'm finding this weird, crazy feeling inside of me that I don't even know how to wrangle, you know? But I'll tell you what, it was lack of suffering. There wasn't anything about it, even though it was difficult and frustrating, that made me feel less than, Jei'mar. And I just am like, okay, so this gets better. Okay. So this guy recognizes, that he's overwhelmed and he's in way over his head. And, oh, no. Before this, I had to let the Indian guy go. I couldn't understand him. Luckily, I had another guy, and I let him go, and I had another guy come in, okay? It was a dude that's from Laguna Niguel. He's a nurse. He's a very nice guy that grew up around here. So he filled in for the Indian guy, so we let him go, right? Then about midway through the week, the second week, and that was Tuesday, right? Everything was going great. I was getting along with this Filipino guy. We're now on point. We're peeing ourselves in the middle of the night. We're nailing it, right? Things are going well. The mornings were going well. He had a really good attitude. We joked back and forth, but he started like obviously limping around in a way that was like odd, because he didn't do anything where he'd gotten hurt, and it looked like he was overdoing it. I mean, let's just say he wasn't the greatest actor, and I wasn't buying it, right? So he didn't really say anything like if there was anything wrong. We were joking back and forth. So I said bye, and he left. And then all of a sudden I get a call from the agency, and the agency says, hey, your caregiver that was the one that committed to being there in the morning and in the evening just quit, and he's not coming back. He hurt his back so bad that he has a fever. So this is the first back injury that I've known of that gives people a fever. And the guy just quit on me. So here I am. I let the Indian guy go 2 days previous. So the new guy that I hired has only been around 2 days, and he's my only employee. And Rebecca's in Washington, and I don't have anything set up beyond that. Let's just say it was. I don't even know what it was, Jei'mar. I don't even know how I got through it, because it's one of those situations that offers so much noise, so much white noise, that if you engage in any of it, like, it's overwhelming. So I just focused on having the intention of getting it solved. I called the references that I had professionally. I called the references that I had personally. And then I just put my phone down and went to therapy and didn't think about it again. And then when I got done with therapy, I obviously looked at my phone thinking somebody would call me back. And Jei'mar, it's now 3:00. Okay. I only have a guy until 7. And when he leaves, nobody's going to be there that night. Nobody's called me back, not the agency or any of my caregivers. So I decided to go to lunch. And I ate my food and I went to lunch. And when I was done, I picked up the phone and I called everybody else again. And then this guy that I've known for 2 days looks at me and says, let me call the agency and let me see if I could stay overnight. And I only had a couple of days left. So he was like, maybe, I have to work, I'll work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then, Friday I have to get my kid. And then Saturday, Sunday, I'll be with him all weekend. So I could give you 3 days. So this perfect stranger just jumps in. Same ordeal, right? He comes running in the middle of the night, handshaking, freaking out. I'm peeing everywhere. I have to do it again. But in that moment, I did it a little bit better because I understood that I had a responsibility in that process. And this stranger had 2 days previously not even known me. And he committed to helping me out in a time where I was in incredible need, Jei'mar. So,
wow,
that happens. That happens, right? And then let's just, you take the lead now, Jei'mar. I got more, and it'll end in an empowering way. Everybody will be all happy, but it'll,
I got 2 questions.
Tie it. Let's do this.
First question is, why you didn't even tell me? You need it. It sounds like now I'm just hearing for the first time. You needed this freaking major lifeline, and I'm supposed to be your partner here, invested. and I'm supposed to be vested because you're vested and we're supposed to be vested. And I'm hearing this for the first time that my boy D needed some like major help. And I didn't even get a call or a text. I don't know what I could have done. But my point is, I'm on your team and you don't even tell me you in need, major need. This didn't sound like it was a cold one. This was like level 10 need. So that was my first question.
Listen, I have to respond to this. This
That's right my first question.
Jei'mar, let me respond to this. This is the reason
why you, Coach D.
Hold on. Please. Because this is why I wanted to bring it on Vested, okay? Because this, as much as this entire conversation has been about me being vulnerable and exposing myself to our Vested community, everybody is in this situation. I don't know, Jei'mar. I really did need help. And I was so full of what it is that I was involved in, man, that like I had good resources all around me, okay? And I didn't realize how to do that because the things that had consumed me from the inside out, man, were so heavy that I don't even know if I was entirely aware of them all until I had them right in front of me, until I had to force myself to push through them. Because when I did, the clarity that I was able to experience on the other side was that, man, I could talk about this. I could use this. I could share this. I could use what it is that I went through. It wasn't even necessarily needed. I didn't need to suffer. I didn't need to be afraid. If I would have just let go and surrendered, what I would have done is I would have released the anxiety that I'd been holding that was unnecessary. And in doing that, I would be able to see a little bit more clearly. And in doing so, I would be able to find the resources that would be able to get me out of where I was at because they're already there. It's me that was in the way. It's all the noise that was in the way. So I wanted to share this with the Vested community because I feel like not a lot of people get up there and say, hey, listen, I had an anxiety attack so bad that I thought I was going to die. I pulled over because I thought I was going to have a heart attack and called my wife and told her to tell the kids I loved them. Nobody shares that. But our friend, the CEO earlier, one of our guests did. And I think that that's what this Vested thing's about. It's about taking what we're feeling on the inside and be able to make sense of it. And Jei'mar, you're helping me. I'm looking, bro.
I got a question. Were there some superheroes that stepped up that maybe didn't step up before?
We got to get to Empower first, baby. I can't talk to you about that yet.
Okay.
I got a question. Come on, back up. Come on, man. You know how this goes, man.
What was created from this experience? What would you say was, what revelation was created? What vantage point? What paradigm shift did you have from this experience? Like what? Because man, it sounds like you're going through a freaking master growth process. I just saw this picture today. It said the man is the same man that hurts himself is the same man that scopes himself. It's a dual process, and not just for you. It's for me. It's for everyone. So we produce our pain, but at the same time, we have the ability to sculpt to this greater masterpiece of self-mastery. And man, what I'm hearing right now you're talking about the self-mastery process.
Jei'mar, when I'm laying on that bed and they're telling me that it's over and I can't be Damien anymore. I mean, that's kind of what it was. I mean, that's pretty much what I was told. Like, sorry, man, the Damien you once knew, he can't be that guy anymore. I freaked out. And to me, I had an out-of-body experience, Jei'mar. And part of that out-of-body experience, that's a whole different conversation, but was that if I was going to come back to this life, I had to find my purpose. And I don't know, man. I looked at the whole situation. I'm like, how am I supposed to find purpose if I can't even exercise who it is that I am? And I don't know if I even believed that it would be possible. And to get to a certain point where I'm experiencing beyond what I thought, beyond what I figured I knew, beyond what I felt, this is all new. The surrender's coming in a way that it's not comfortable, dude. But I think that you said something earlier about like how all of these things that happen to us, I mean, bad, good, or indifferent, they're a part of our experience. And I think that as they happen and as we're trying to make sense of them, they all have lessons, man. And it's like some of the things I feel like that are the most uncomfortable are there to be able to be indicator signs for how we can sharpen ourselves even better, how we can move towards an even more pure self and be more aligned. I mean, if you think about it, like some of the things that are really hurtful in your life, some of the things that really sting, a lot of the times that they aren't even real. Because I look at it and say I didn't have help when I'm sitting here on the show and you look at me and go, bro, I'm right here. You know what I mean? And it could have been something so simple as just car rides or like dinner or something like that. You don't have to come over here, throw me over your shoulder and get me up in the morning. But at the same time, bro, look, though, if I'm not filled up with all the stress and anxiety about all this stuff, then I can see clearly. And what I want to do is try to share this experience with everybody so that I can let everybody know that, man, we're all at the edge of our seat, and it's very difficult to see clearly when we're going as hard as we can. And we need to be patient with ourselves, and we need to understand that in the worst case scenario, it's okay that it's the hardest, and then we need to just kind of be able to let go and experience what it feels like instead of pushing it down so that we don't have to deal with it like 30 years later. And we have all these other compensation mechanisms that are going on because we're trying to avoid what hurts us. There's this little kid in us, Jei'mar, that it gets suppressed, and we're told that we can't and don't, and this hurts, and it doesn't make sense, man. And we just stuff it down. We don't go into it. We don't try to deal with it and let it happen. So can we empower, man? This is uncomfortable, everybody.
Hey, man, Coach D, hey, y'all vested. Y'all see why I got so much love for this dude right here. And just like our guest a few weeks ago, our magical guest that we had, she said, remember, she was talking about when she lost love of her life and then met another love of her life, right? But she said she believes, she lives by the premises that all things are happening for our greater good. And man, that right there, that's a powerful place to be when we're going through the crap. To understand that I don't know why I'm experiencing this. I don't like the way it feels. I don't like the way it smells. I don't like anything about anything. But to then think that this is happening to me, it's happening for me. It's happening for my greater good. Man, that takes a very, very focused and intentional thought to think that when we go through what you're expressing that you went through this surrender process.
Hey, so Blair, I'm a spaz. Intentional, to focus, to stick with the program. I'm a nutter butt for this guy over here, dude. I do my best, but damn. You know all the thoughts were going on in here, boy. I'm raw. So let's
and when I talked to you, I was like, Coach, you're like, oh yeah, I'm good, bro. I'm good.
I am. Did I make it? Did I win? Am I here?
I'm like, oh, cool. All right. My boy's good.
I believed it. I believed in myself. I believed in my team. I believed in everybody around me. And listen, guess what? You are here. This is what's up. Okay, Vested, let's do this. Before we empower, okay, before we go to empower, last Wednesday, okay, my caregiver quit on Tuesday. And then, so the time, Jei'mar, when I called you up, like a day after this had happened, and I looked at you and I was like, okay, listen, in full surrender, I know that was our topic this week. I have to, for the first time, okay, Vested, we've had episodes every single time since we started, except for Christmas and New Year's. And this last week, I had to call up and humbly look at Jei'mar and with my ego in my pocket say, I have to surrender to what's going on in my life. It's pretty intense. I didn't tell him how intense or what was going on, but I said, today I don't have it. I was like, I don't have the energy to put out, even if it's in front of a camera, even if it's in my room. I have to hold space for myself. I have to be patient. This is really, really hard. And I have to let go and surrender. And so Jei'mar, you were there for me because you looked at me and you said, how cool, man, that you're that aware of where you're at right now. And you didn't even bother to ask me what I was doing or what I was going through, but you definitely offered yourself. I remember specifically because I guess my ego decided that I wasn't going to accept good help. You know what I mean? But you did. You offered. You said, if there's anything I can do, please let me know. And we moved on. And here we are, okay, on a new time. And I get to kick it off, Jei'mar. I get to kick off the Wednesday version of Vested. And we're going to be here for a while. I think the midweek thing is what we're going to do. We're going to get people on the hump day. And we're going to get them up here. And we're going to inspire. We're going to create power. Now empowered.
Man, hey, that's empowering right there, bro.
I'm excited to tell you what it's about. The empower section. It's good. It's good. It ended up working out really well. All right, bro. So here we are, okay? It's Thursday. I'm recognizing that this is the last day that I have night help, okay? I call up my boy Jei'mar. I say, pass on Vested, okay? I call my wife who's in Washington, holding it down, by the way. Hey, shout out to the Skokomish Mushroom team and ProSport. ProSport, guys, is our business. This is
shout out.
Yeah, our new LLC. Jordan, Jake, Troy have been doing an incredible job holding it down.
Great job, team.
Hey, Bob and Harry Ames put us in an incredible position to be able to succeed on this mushroom farm and are being more than reasonable men to our whole family. So listen, shout out to all of them. I love you guys. Thank you. You did a really good job. So Rebecca's in Washington. We pass on Vested. And it's Thursday night, okay? So maybe our community is going, Damien, you have a mom and a dad and you have 3 brothers. Like, you say that there's no one there, but you had to at least like reach out to them, right? Okay, now let's address this one, okay? Because this is good for empowerment. Because in a lot of different ways, I'm the leader of my family. I'm the oldest. I was the first one to graduate college. I did very well in high school sports. I went to Catholic high school. I know athletes and celebrities and yada yada, TV shows. But anyway, I was looked up to by my family. And when I got hurt, it was a devastation that, yes, my Damien was affected, but I radiated out into them in a family in a way that when this happened, man, like they didn't have the strength to be able to pull together in a way that like they could just shuck it off and say, oh, no problem, let's keep going. So it shattered what we all once loved. And I had to, that's part of what was so hard. That was part of what was so hard to get through, is that there was this illusion that everything was okay. And then when this big drama thing happened, it didn't just expose, it wasn't just the big drama thing, it exposed all the other little things that we had been pushing down and hiding. So years went by, and I've had dramas in little ways with all of my family, little dramas. And like, I wasn't able to see at the root of what it was because my cup was filled so much. I wasn't able to look at it and say, you know what? I know he's acting this way and he's being ridiculous or they're being over sensational or whatever, but I wasn't able to respond in a way to go, wonder why. And in this last couple of weeks, I was able to start to be able to appreciate the idea that it was partly my fault. Okay, because in every interaction, there's multiple people, and there's a responsibility of even the person that is needing the help, that is being helped. Because if you are to receive the help in the right way, you can start the healing process together with other people. So when I was in this scenario where I had the Filipino guy come through and help me, and then he left for whatever reason, and then the other guy seeing that I was down and out and that I really needed help, and he stuck it out. Perfect stranger, I know him for a couple of days, he did it. I went to a resource that I can't believe that I hadn't nurtured before this, because I was so filled up with my own thing that I didn't understand that I wasn't playing my part in relationship to the responsibility of being vulnerable. So now let's go back to the beginning of the week. I looked at the Indian guy, and as much as he wanted to help, he spoke so little English that we were both doing each other a disservice. He could help somebody else that understood him a little bit better, and he was more effective. So I had to look at it in a very hard way. And I had to say, listen, my friend, I understand that you want to help me, but man, I got to let you go, because this isn't what I need. Okay. And what I needed in certain situations in my recovery process was my family. And instead of looking to my family and figuring out a way within myself to heal and accepting the idea that it sucks and that it hurts, because that's part of the process. Sometimes you have to look at what's going on and you have to be totally okay with the idea that this sucks and there's nothing I can do about it. And instead of tucking it down and hiding from it, maybe just feel it. Don't be depressed. Don't put your toe on a trigger. Grab some ice cream, put the TV on, and deal with it. Let it happen. Let it come out. And I felt like I was weak when I was doing that. I wouldn't let myself have that happen, because that meant that I had to go around and patch everything up, because there were a lot of things that I did that I was present for. You don't have to blame me. I was present for it. I was there. So the issues that I had with everybody, okay, it was my issue or their issue with the relationship. And I didn't tend to the things that I could have within myself to be able to make those things work. And they were big. Because if you're the leader, if people are looking to you previously and things change like they did in my situation, and people don't know how to react, you at very best have got to meet in the middle. And I didn't do my part. Emotionally speaking, I was scared and hurt. And I was able to look at this in the last couple of weeks. And I was able to appreciate the idea that it was overwhelming and that nobody can handle that. And that there's no right way to do it, and that my best was enough, and that I accepted and realized that I made some serious mistakes and there was collateral damage and there was nothing I could have done to avoid it. So I have to look at it with love and compassion and accept the idea that it is what it is, and here's where we're at. So I picked up the phone and I called my number one resource, man. I said, Mom, I need help. I have nobody. I did everything that I could to do this on my own. I now need you to come in full vulnerability, and you've never done this, and not because you weren't willing. It's because I didn't know how to bridge the gap. I didn't know how to merge that weird spot that was between us, between mother and son, to be able to have that alignment. And man, I swear to God, the same thing happened, okay? So here we were on Friday night and on Saturday night. And this time, it wasn't a Filipino, okay? It wasn't some guy that I'd known for 2 days whose hand was shaking. It was my mom's. And I had to let her know that in that moment, as awkward as it was and as much as it hurt, that she was helping her paralyzed son in a way that was just insane, right? That was okay. And that she did a really good job. And together we were vulnerable and got through it together. So if it wasn't me letting go, to be able to look at it from a vulnerable perspective with a Filipino, and then with a guy that basically just came out of nowhere, okay, and decided to spend the night with me for 3 days and approached probably the scariest damn thing, that he was going to be at home playing video games, and instead decided that there was a man that needed my help, and I'm going to bypass what's comfortable to give myself unconditionally to him. And in those two moves, they gave me the strength and the ability to go within myself and be able to overcome some stuff with my mom. 17 years, Jei'mar, mind-blowing, okay? Mind-blowing. Mind-blowing, bro. I don't want to say it was my fault. It was nobody's fault. It's just what happened. It's just what it was. But through all this struggle and vulnerability and surrender, Jei'mar, I was able to bridge a serious gap with one of the most important relationships that I have in this life, dude. So I'm over here just off my head, dude. I don't know what to say. I talked a lot, so please say something.
No, bro. Coach D, man, thank you for just bringing us inside to the think tank of what was experienced this last few weeks, man. You know, one of my mentors, Bill Woodard, he shared this revelation with me before, his perspective. He said, when the student is ready, the master will appear. When the student is ready, the master will appear. See, I'm not the master. You're not the master. Individuals are not the master. The lesson is the master. So when we're ready to experience and grow, when the student, we're the students, right? In this story, you're talking from the perspective of being in the game as the student. And when the student is ready, the master will appear. And the master happened to come in the form of this dynamic situation of events that brought you to the cliff of this new level of growth that you experienced through the process of surrender. Man, so that right there is so powerful. But at the same time, you know what I hear, man? I hear so much love in this story from the Indian guy who was there who wanted to serve, the Filipino guy who was there who wanted to serve, the dude who stepped up out of the woodworks who served, and then mom came in and bringing in the exclamation point to serve, obviously, a son she loves so dearly. Like, there's so much love in the message of surrender. And then the fact that you were able to even give back the love despite things that weren't flowing that you thought at the time were flowing in your favor, to love the people despite them not meeting an expectation or a need, not because they didn't try with effort, they just weren't capable. How many times as people, we try to meet the need of a person with effort, but we just can't do it. And so for you to even express love back there, man. So, Coach D, I mean, I got so much just value out of you talking about this story. And what makes it even beautiful, because this is a real life story. This is real life. And man, like, I'm getting vested. I'm getting this hot off the press just like you guys are. Like, this is like me hearing it for the first time.
Jei'mar, I didn't even talk about the morning guy, okay, who literally left church with his family on Father's Day because I didn't have anybody, dude. I hadn't even brought him up. I'm telling you, man, like, I don't have the answers for you, Vested. I really don't. What I learned this weekend is that all I can offer is my 100% very best, and it's only going to get better as I go, because the more I surrender, the more value I offer to everybody.
What's up, Mom?
Mom, Joyce Baker. Hey, mothers, my mother, Miss Baker, thank you, okay? Thank you.
Surrendering is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of understanding. Come on, Mom. This is true strength. My mom just said, you got true strength, bro. My mom said that to you.
True strength in numbers, the I am, we are process. To understand that I'm only a piece of the puzzle, and if I can provide my very best effort, then I can bring out the very best effort in others. And honestly, how about this? Full circle. Tech team, I'm so glad you're home.
Hey, man, you know, I was just talking to a buddy of mine yesterday. What's up, Greg? And Greg was talking about, he says, imagine if every moment we appreciated the moment.
It's
man, and it's like
abundant, man.
Abundant. Man, and Mom, I'm telling my mom's here right now. I immediately thought about my mom. I was like, oh man. So, you know, my mom calls you, like, if I'm jamming around, I'm like, oh, I'll call Mom back. But ever since Greg told me, I was like, no, you know, I want to call my mom. I want to take my mom's call. Like, I want to appreciate this moment, you know, and I'm that right now is where I'm at right now, is really appreciating moments, because when those moments are gone, like when Tech Team was gone, bro, you knew how much weight she lifts as a power lifter, world's strongest woman. But when she's out of the saddle, you're like, oh shoot, I knew you lifted heavy weight, but I didn't realize it was that much weight.
But you know what? Okay, in fear, batter down the hatches. Okay, but in surrender, it's now time for me to carry the weight. And I don't even know how I'm going to do that yet. Because I'll tell you what, Jei'mar, what I haven't mentioned was when my wife left me, there was another person that had never gone 5 days without this guy here, okay, in the last 15 years, and it was her. So as much as she's put into the mix to try to love and care for me, it took a lot of courage for her to understand and faith in me to know that I'd be okay, that I'd figured it out, and that I would struggle and that I'd be okay. Because when she got in that car and she drove away, I know my wife. I know she's an incredible person, and there wasn't a minute that she was gone where she wasn't thinking about me or what I was up to or who I was with or what I was doing or if I was going to be able to, have the strength to get it done. But she had enough strength and faith in me and in herself to be able to hold it down, buddy, in this mushroom farm, man. She went in there and she literally, as a true pro that she is, man, she does her magic, and she went in there and tied up all the loose ends, Jei'mar. I mean, we're in a really good position to succeed right out of the gate. The kids did an incredible job on the farm. They matched almost top numbers for the guy that we just bought it from, and it looks like Reynolds might even double it before we even get the equipment that we need, Jei'mar. Like, I don't know how to experience this phenomenon that I'm happening as I'm falling into this way that I always knew was there. And I always knew it existed, but like for me to be a part of it and to be flowing into it, it's just I'm in awe. I'm in full on awe. I don't know. I am so much smaller than what's going on right now, and I'm a very forward, passionate guy with very strong opinions and ideas, and it's just like I just don't know what to do about how I feel. Like I'm gonna let go, and I'm gonna continue fulfilling this idea and this purpose. And man, it's just I'm grateful to even be able to have this venue of VESTED to be able to share with everybody, because I don't want to be any bigger or smaller than any other thing. And I think that if VESTED, if you're into the show and if you're watching us and if you're committed to what we're all about, and you come across this message, I don't want it to be about Damien or Jei'mar or Tech Team or any of that. I want it to be about the idea within you that tickles this curiosity to want more. To realize that there's a better version of what's going on right now, and to challenge the things that sting on the inside, because there's value there. And you might be afraid of it. You might have been pushing it down, and that's okay. You just wait as long as you need to be able to have patience with yourself and to be able to let your life unfold the way it's supposed to. You get this sense of like lightness when you realize that, yeah, man, I am going to deal with my problems. Yeah, I am going to challenge them. And when the time's right, I'm going to do everything that I can to be a better person. And man, that's enough. And if you believe that, if you believe it, you can make it happen. Jei'mar, wrap it up, man.
Come on, bro.
Bro,
hey.
Subscribe, hit the button, like. Weston, it's on Wednesdays now. Yeah, we're good. Wednesdays at 6:03. It's time to wrap it up, player.
Man, Coach D, I love you, bro. Hey, VESTED, you guys see, I got so much love and admiration and massive respect for Coach D. Not just also Coach D, but for his amazing wife, aka Tech Team, which one day we'll have a whole Tech Team. But VESTED, tonight, Coach D, he took us on a journey, about surrender, right? It's about sacrifice, about growth, about, as David Goggin talks about, looking in the accountability mirror. Whew, that's a big one for a lot of us. But there's a message of love in there too. And what I heard with Coach D, because I experienced it myself, we don't know what people are going through. So I want you to just think about that, the loved ones in your life. Because if someone doesn't bring us in, like Coach G just brought us into the think tank tonight, and if someone doesn't bring us in, we really don't know what people are going through. And every single person around us is going through something. So as leaders of light, L-I-G-H-T, leaders of light that we all are here on VESTED Community, there's people out there who need us. So just be open to hearing and being ready and available to help people that you may only know for 2 days. Right, Coach D? Come on, baby. And whatever process you're going through, or you're surrendering or fighting the surrender process, just know that everything is happening for your greater good, that the blessing and the blessing is there, and that our best days are ahead. So I want to tell you, Coach D, always, now and forever, I love you. I love you, Vested. And just to add an exclamation point on what Coach G said, Vested is not about us. Vested is not about any individual here. Vested is a mindset. Vested is being vested into what you believe in, and you inspiring and creating and empowering in the world. So whatever you do in your life, whatever you want to do, here's the question. Are you vested?